For your entertainment, Tales from the Grocery Store, 1977. I sat my O-levels in 1976 and then my hires in 77, and I applied for an apprenticeship with Balfour Kilpatrick Paisley, a firm of industrial electricians, and they were part of a bigger group, a global corporate, Balfour Beatty. But before I took up the position, I think it might have been about October of that year 77, I got a job in a discount store in Glasgow, a discount grocery store. So I worked there for 3 months, and it was in the east end of Glasgow. So if you come out of Central Station in Glasgow and you go downhill a bit towards Argyll Street, if you head east, you, in those days, 1977, you would end up at Charing Cross, and there's a M8 there, and flyover, and that's where the Marriott Hotel in Glasgow is. That's you going west. You're going west towards Charing Cross, and the flyover of the M8 and the big Marriott Hotel. If you head the other way along Argyll Street, you head right along there about a mile and you end up somewhere called the Tron Gate, with a really old-fashioned building at the Tron Gate, and then you head in further, you come into the east end of Glasgow, which is a very poor area, and that's saying something for those days in Glasgow. So people around there were by no means flush with money. And the whole area was a bit of an eyesore because they'd been knocking down all these tenement buildings, and you just got one side of them, like the gable end, and the other half was still standing, but there's big gaps. It almost looked like a war zone and a bomb site. There's all these ancient unoccupied tenement buildings, and all broken down, almost no modern buildings there at all, in big areas of wasteland. And this grocery store was very sort of down market, and it just sold tea bags, coffee, and tins of beans, tins of beetroot, whatever. And it was catering for people who'd next to nothing. And the supplier man, the man who owned the shop, he had a better, more prestigious shop at another part of Glasgow, and that was his successful store. But this one was not earning him very much, and he didn't spend any money on it. And it had 5 aisles, fairly big supermarket full of the cheapest goods possible, and bags of sugar and stuff. No frills, very grubby kind of shop really. Big stone floor, and just very cheap shelving, and it was all stacked up there. Big supermarket, but nothing too posh. And I worked in there full time from I think about 8 or 8:30 in the morning to 5 or 5:30, and I did this for about 3 months before I got the job training program as an electrician. While I was in this discount store, I was paying the grocery store. I got paid £18 a week. When I became the trainee electrician, industrial kind of electrician, I actually went down in my wage. I got 17 a week, or 42 pence an hour. £5 of that was head towards my payment of my toolbox. The tools, I had to buy my own tools, and also I had transport to get there, which was a wee motorbike, Suzuki 100, and I had that on hire purchase, so therefore I had to pay about £5 for that. So at the end of a week, I got about £16 or £17 as an electrician, and I you had to take £10 off it, and that wasn't without insurance for my motorbike or fuel and food and everything else. So I was only left with £3 or £4 at the end of a week. I've been an electrician. Before that, 3 months before, I didn't have a motorbike yet. I was in this discount store. Sometimes I got the bus in from East Kilbride, and other times I just cycled in on a bicycle. And I worked there. I worked there for 3 months, and eventually, towards the end of my time, they offered me a position of assistant manager. But I then let them know this was a fill-in thing. I had the apprenticeship lined up, the training. So I've got quite a few pretty funny stories from there, or funny to me anyway, and because I was 17 years old, and you don't have any responsibilities, and you don't think of the consequences of anything, and you've no idea, you don't have hindsight, and you're really just working to get to the end of the day and the end of the week so you can spend your fat pay packet of £18, and it was just a little brown envelope, and you would get your payment and there would be deductions off of it, all written just in a pen on a wee brown envelope.